Hello and welcome to Experiment Lab, the daily show with JK. I'm JK, your host. I'm joined by Amar. Amar, happy Friday. We are heading into the storm.
Yeah, hi Jackie. Good morning and happy Friday.
Yes. So, shall we wait for Walter or
Mm.
let him join? I was planning to play an interview today rather
Oh,
than having this regular discussion and talk that we have been doing.
yeah, we can discuss before going to join. Then that would be good if you will share the interview.
Yes, of course. We had a last minute change. So obviously he might not have noticed that. So hopefully once he gets to see that, he'll be able to join and
Mm-hmm.
we can continue on that conversation. So
Yeah,
we
sure.
have been completing this, what, 4 months together? Is that right?
Right, right.
So that being said, we did a lot. And this time of the year, definitely there is not going to be much calls or emails, and the recruiters and the recruitment industry has slowed down. We can literally see that in all the profiles. And even the surprise part was like Walter, who had like multiple opportunities coming in his way in the last 2 weeks itself. But then once we start uh, asking him to do the things on his own, he might have a little bit less than what he used to have right now. Probably that will be the best option uh, for him to explore and understand like what exactly needs to be done.
Exactly. I think for December, we had the same situation, right? Because last month of the year, all are busy with celebrating so many festival. I mean, Christmas days is coming on. That's why the recruitment industry and all other people are busy with celebrating the occasion. Am I right?
Yeah, so that is something like we even made fun of it like during our talk shows and which is coming on. Uh,
Mhm.
so the holiday seasons are pretty much like what people tend to enjoy here. So they just don't uh, have to work. So the extended leaves are being taken by everyone.
Mhm.
So let me play out the interview before he joins, and we can obviously stop that in between
Yeah,
and make sure that like you are able to hear the audio of it. Like
yeah,
that's more
sure,
important
sure.
for us, for our audience, like to.
Okay, I will do that. Let's share the interview. So this interview was for Shiva or other profile?
Yes, you are right. It was on Shiva and the recently selected one. So that should be.
Oh, okay.
The money?
Hi, Arish. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, money, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing good. Are we expecting anyone else from Tincture on the call?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's fine. I had forwarded it to one of my project leads, and let me quickly check if he's going to be joining. Okay, give me 2 minutes.
Sure, no worries.
Well, it looks like this was an unedited version. So the full interview can be streamed on, but meanwhile, they have put us on hold for the teammates to join. Then, like, they continued with the interview. So probably I'll try to skip it over.
Okay. So, Mani, has Kunal or Gopi, one of those guys, given you a basic introduction of the role and what they're doing here at Jabo?
Yeah, not Kunal, but Darshan mentioned that. And
Okay.
yeah.
So, what is your understanding of the need right now?
I'm not fully aware of it, but if you can give me a brief, that will be great. But as long as the Scrum is concerned, like I'm not sure how matured you guys are handling in that way, because most of the banking client and insurance domain, like where I worked on, some of that, like on the IT side of it, like on technology companies, where I implemented pure agile Scrum frameworks, but not on the banking side. It's more on a hybrid model. So it's kind of enterprise client to client, how they want to operate. So,
Okay.
so
So, I will give a brief introduction of what we're doing here. But before that, do you have exposure to Scrum in an ERP environment like SAP?
yes, I do have
Okay. So, was it SAP or what was it?
ERP and CRM.
Okay. So, was that a recent project or was it a while ago?
A recent one.
Okay. Maybe that will serve as a good starting point, right? To have this discussion started. Why don't you just give us a brief overview of what that project was all about and what was your role and the team dynamics, etc.
Yeah. So in terms of Scrum implementation on the large scale enterprise, like I come from the project management domain, like traditionally, and even with the current one, like I report to the PMO director, and we work as a title wise as a project manager. But in some clients, I've worked as a Scrum Master as such. So implementation wise, like application and infrastructure projects, data migration project, those are complex scenarios where even in the existing one, it's multi-year project, multi-million dollar projects. So the enterprise clients are struggling to split it into smaller teams. So we always have a larger team. So we have to work with the teams, like to make sure that we have the comfort level of different smaller teams to handle those client initiatives. So currently it was like on the phone intelligence piece. It is more on migrating it and onboarding third-party vendors and verifying those datas and testing it out and aligning with the release cycle and deploying it. So those are the activities that we do. And in that, we have like a couple of Scrum teams, and I manage one of those team as a Scrum Master as well, apart from managing the different projects in the portfolio. So that
Okay. What was the SAP connect to this?
this has nothing to do with the SAP Connect. Do you want like specific to SAP Connect?
Yeah, I just wanted to hear some projects that you have done on the SAP world.
So on the SAP side, like it was while back by 5 years before, so not recently.
Sorry, what was the
voice is breaking.
ERP or what was it?
So ERP and Salesforce implementation.
You're kind of breaking up, but
Yes, the voice is kind of breaking up, like going in and out. I don't know whether it's my side.
can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So that's fine. If it's a while ago, then I'm not gonna go back 5 years, talk about that. That's fine. So in the current project that you're in, are you on the client side or are you on the vendor side?
Client side.
Okay. So what is your team size like? The Scrum team size?
In the current, we have 3 Scrum teams. Like each one has like around 12 to 14 members.
Hmm? And what is the composition like? Like how many devs, how many QA, BA?
So we have analysts in each one of those teams, and also testers too. And we have separate testing teams, like the vendor teams are being handling the QA part, and separate teams are also involved apart from 2 testers and also around 8 developers. Junior team.
From the customer itself, from the client side?
No, it is a combination. It's a multi-vendor tier. So different vendors are involved in that.
Okay, but you represented the client.
Yes.
Okay, and who are your key stakeholders for this initiative?
Stakeholders from the business side of it on the author. And
Yes, yes.
subject matter experts, and they have a product owner assigned. So
was the product owner from the business itself or was it from IT?
From the business itself.
Okay. And they are the one that were setting the priority and all that?
Yes, they provide, like I work with the product owner team, and we have a separate meetings with them and have those product backlogs created. And also it has to go through the PMO structure as well. So it's kind of a double layer, and we have around 12 to 13 PMs. We handle a whole lot of projects. So we coordinate with the product owner teams and with the product owners and also with the IT teams.
So you mentioned the backlog, right? Backlog refinement. Who else was part of that ceremony in this particular project? Like I know the product owner and you, but who are the enablers for this backlog?
Enabler in the sense, like
So from the technical side.
Technical side. Okay. Yeah, we had like system side architects, and also from the IT folks, like we invite them as well as part of the team, but usually we don't have the entire team. But it's preferable but not possible, like in some of the scenarios, like because of the global and distributed teams and all. So we try to limit it, and we go by different methods. Usually here, like we go by t-shirt sizing and estimate and break those product backlogs into smaller ones before even taking up with the teams to groom and make the user stories and features ready for the sprint backlogs.
Okay, makes sense. So you were mainly dependent on the architects for this from the technical side, right? The developers were not involved at this point in time.
Yes.
Okay. And when would the developers be involved at the next level, as the next step after the backlog refinement?
Yes, once we have that product backlog, we take it as a sprint backlog and set a sprint goal. And during the sprint grooming session, like before we take up with the sprint planning, the team, like Scrum teams, will be engaged, developers will be engaged to take up their stories. And it's more of we are trying to self-organize and assign the stories to them, and they will get back to us like during those sessions and ask questions on what acceptance criteria are, what items are needed in those user stories, like to finalize before we commit in the sprint planning.
Okay. And were you involved to a certain extent on the technical side also, or were you totally limited to the just the Scrum role?
I come from the technical background, but I don't overstep and I don't involve in myself. But still, I have done that in the past.
Okay.
The reason is like the workload and the back-to-back meetings and other things restricts me to provide like only the Scrum role and the project manager role.
Okay. Okay. But so what was the geographic location of the team? This Scrum team.
I work on the Pacific time zone, though I am based in Central time zone, Seattle team, and we have like Charlotte in the East Coast, and some of them are in Texas as well, and also few team members like are in global locations, like working from India as well.
So was there a big offshore presence? Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, we do have like TCS and Cognizant, different vendors are there, right? That they always
Developers.
yes, they have this developers and the testers.
So how do you ensure that you get feedback from them and you work with them? How does that work?
I have in the past worked with the TCS as well, so I'm pretty familiar. Like, and it's kind of around the clock, right? It's not 9 to 5 job. So always we try to stretch the limit and we try to be flexible. And since being remote, we do have like early morning calls or in the late nights, we do sync up with them. Or mostly what I try to do is like I connect with the individual team leads and also get those status. Unless we have any major impediments or roadblocks, we don't invite everybody else like in all the meetings. So we do have one-on-one sessions and ad hoc meetings. That way, like we try to get the update, and mostly it is being resolved with the daily stand-up, and that is being common. And we do have the daily Scrum call, and that kind of not purely agile way. So it always extends like to 30 minutes, and also like
Usually 15 minutes and it extends to 30 minutes.
yeah, that happens.
Okay. So what were your sprints like? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah, so it is 2 weeks, but still we are aligning with the release cycle on a monthly calendar. So it is always
Okay.
like 4 weeks kind of thing.
Give me 1 second, guys.
Right. No worries.
Well, Amar, this was a fun interview. The surprise part is like this was kind of a staged one. It looks
Hey,
like.
sorry, guys. Somebody was at my door. No problem. So 2 week sprints with a monthly release. So you did not do a release after every sprint. So we kind of moved all that to the quality environment and then moved to the production at the end of the month.
Yes, and it's not even like at the end of the month. By default, it goes, and every project has to get an approval here, like on the banking side, like to which monthly release cycle they are going to go. Sometimes, like we do even skip on one of those monthly release cycles, and they go with the next one based on the alignment of.
You will move
Yes, of course.
to quality, right?
Yes,
You're not holding it in dev.
No, it will be in the set, and it will be on the
System integration testing is what
yes,
you're meaning by sit.
yes, in set, or in it will be in pre-prod, or sometimes we do it on the dark part and instead of going live.
Okay. I'm hearing an echo. I don't know why. Anyways, okay. 2 week sprints. That's good. What about the demo itself? Would you still have a demo after 2 weeks?
It depends on project to project. And other application development, like we used to have the product demo kind of thing at the end of 2 week sprint, and also we engage all the stakeholders and provide like sprint review and demo together and then conduct retrospectives. But here, like, we don't
But
have.
if you don't do it, then how are you going to sign off on it? Who's going to sign off on it, right? If that's the only time you'll have your product owner involved for the sign off, right?
Yeah, that's right. So in this client, so in this project, I'm saying that like we don't do that. But in the past, like what I
How else do you do it? If you don't do this, how else does the sign off happen?
we do by manual, like we send email and get everybody like to do the sign off in the Jira itself instance, and then like after getting those checkpoints, then only like the release managers, like they coordinate with like the list of items like before the end of the sprint, like as a scrum master, our responsibility before closing all the stories, trying to get the UAT sign off from the business, from the stakeholders, with whoever it is assigned. That way we try to manually close those loops. We don't do that as a regular sprint cycle where we do the sprint review and demo and make sure that like it is done at that point. It's not that meeting here, specifically in this client I'm talking about.
Okay, so you're using Jira for the DevOps, right? So here we are using Azure DevOps. Else I'm trying to quickly. So here also it's 2-week sprints, and same logic. The deployment to production is on demand by the business, right? So there is no set schedule. And but we do have a demo. We do have a demo at the end of the sprint. So one thing I wanted to ask was, so it's a 2-week sprint, right? When does your QA resources start testing? I mean, when is in the 2-week sprint? What is the cutoff point for dev to be completed?
That's a tricky one. Again, it depends on the user stories and the list of items that we take it up.
No, I'm just saying, I'm asking, okay, let me put it this way. When would you like it to be done?
We just
Ideally, how should it work is what I'm trying to get. So let's say, for example, right, 2-week sprint is 10 working days, right? If I finish all my dev on the 10th day, and that's when I have my QA analysts start testing, they don't have enough time to test, right? That's where I'm asked. That's what I'm asking about.
Yeah. That's not how it works, right? So it's like we try to pick those stories, and it's not always like going to be like huge story points and huge ticket like that developers can work for the entire 10 days, right? So we just try to pick it in such a way that like in the first 2 days of the sprint cycle, in the beginning of it, like they complete it and hand it over like in the next day. Like we get to know that like in the daily stand up, and the testers can take it up like saying that like I got it from the developer and they're still working on it, or unit testing is completed and we are writing the test cases, and they take it up like from the third day of the sprint itself. And the most of it, like we prefer like to be complete by the first week itself or by 6th or 7th day, so that like the testing team has enough time like to complete that, like hand it over. But usually since we are aligning with the release cycle, so it spills over to the next sprint and they wrap it up like in that way.
Okay, got it. And you said the
All right. So again, Walter is back and he has joined us. Walter, we were just having fun, and this is more of a holiday special, a Christmas special. We played out like the interview as such. And for this position, the surprising, like the remaining 10 minutes was the crucial one that I will leave it to the members, and those who sign and pay, they will get to know like what exactly happened in the interview. And this was for one of the profile. And can you guess what happened as a end result of this interview?
I think I came in during the middle of it, so it sounded like he was asking about the agile methodology methods and how it would work for how would you want that to work if you were in charge of it? Is that what was happening?
Yes, it's a full length 30 minutes interview, and it is for the Scrum Master role. And we were not playing around here. It was an actual client, and it was a $70 billing rate. So I was trying to give the interview and see, like, I was just having some fun, but the end result was surprise to the audience, right? He got selected, and they want him to join in Florida. So hopefully, Shiva will travel to Florida, and he will join the project. I don't know. That's not going to happen because he's not going to move anywhere, and he is out of the country. That is uh, how we are going to do this. We really don't know that. But just to make a point, right? So we can make a Christmas special, having a mock interview with you. That we can do it like on Monday. So we already said that, like, happy Friday. We just don't have much activity today. As you can see, like in most of the profiles, we don't get any emails or any calls. It's going to be like this for the next 1 week. It's the last week of the year. So we don't get to see much activity, but still we can have some fun. So that's one of the reason, like, why we continue to have this. We don't want like to take breaks and say like, okay, we are on holiday season, we are not going to do the daily show. That's not how we are built. So Amar, what is your take on the interview? How would you rate the interview? You were listening for the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. And yes, the interview was really good. You did well. And they asked you lots of questions, how you will handle the project, lots of things they asked you to share. And really you did, the interview taker did well. And although the interview was for another person, but I had to share that he was not in the country, he is out of the country, and someone took the part of the interview order and really did well. I think. And as they are placed and selected you for the position. Years was a good.
I am still not able to. Walter, is this my side or Amar? Your voice is kind of echoing, right? It's based. I think you are not using the headset. Probably.
He wasn't echoing for me.
Huh? Okay. Yeah. Probably then from my side. So that about again, Walter. Like, we will wrap up for today, and hope you have a fun holiday, and also we will meet on the next week.
Right.
Are you one final question to you, right? Are you ready for the excitement of the interview process? Because you haven't started that. So I really don't know how that is going to play out, but we will see that, right? We will have that fun as well.
I've got to go through a lot more stuff, and yeah, probably shouldn't record some of that, but yeah, I've got to go through a lot more stuff before that. I haven't had anything scheduled yet. I think I can't remember how many submissions I have. It's been a lot since I have over 150 conversations about positions, so it's quite a lot, and it's only been 10 days really. So yes, I'm assuming something will be coming pretty soon.
Walter, I'm not going to put you through that real live interview, right? So I mean to say, like, within us, right, within our team, like, we'll do a mock interview, not the actual interview.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Even that probably shouldn't be recorded. But yeah.
We don't have to do it on the show. We can do it off air, right? Not on air.
Yeah. I still need to. Yeah, I still need to go through some things to get ready for all of that. but yeah, it's been a very
No, the fun, we will miss the fun part, right? That's what, right? If you are ready and prepared, then it's not fun. Without any preparation, putting somebody through it is what fun is. So anyway, let's have that, and we will continue this conversation the next week. Bye for now.
Bye.